broke down how it was released from The Athletic that Shannon Sharpe was going to be removed from ESPN. Shannon Sharpe himself found out, they say Monday or Tuesday. Yep. They said that the call that they had and the conversation that they had with Shannon Sharpe was either Monday or Tuesday. Shannon Sharpe himself said that he found out earlier this week. And he had one request that they did not grant, but we'll get into that shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about it. Shannon Sharpe was recently fired by ESPN shortly after settling the $50 million lawsuit from the chick that was on OnlyFans.
Got to get to some breaking news out of the sports world now. ESPN confirming to NBC it's cutting ties with its NFL commentator Shannon Sharpe. The move coming after Sharpe, of course, the Hall of Fame tight end, settled a lawsuit accusing him of sexual assault and battery. He has previously denied the allegations against him, and he hasn't been on the air since April. NBC News is out to Sharpe and his attorney for comment, although we haven't heard back. Ellison Barber is tracking this one. Ellison, what else do we know?
Hey, Hallie, I mean, it is a massive fall from grace for the Hall of Famer turned broadcast giant. As you said, his relationship with ESPN, it is officially over. He had not been on the air at ESPN since this lawsuit was first filed back in April. That was a decision at the time that he and his attorney had said they had made, that he had made on his own as he dealt with what he described back then as false and disruptive allegations. But look, he's no longer going to be on ESPN, and this is despite the network renegotiating his contract and announcing an expansion of his role on the show First Take just last year. You mentioned it, but no comment from ESPN or Sharpe as of yet. The split, it does come 2 weeks after the attorney who was representing the woman who had accused Sharpe of sexual assault and raping her in the state of Nevada on 2 different occasions, one in late 2024 and one in January of this year. It comes 2 weeks after her attorney announced that they had reached a settlement on that lawsuit. The terms of the settlement were not publicly disclosed. Again, Sharpe has consistently denied any wrongdoing here. He claims that he had a consensual relationship with this woman. Based on court filings in the state of Nevada, she had said that she had met Sharpe back in 2023 at a gym when she was 20 years old and that they had engaged in a relationship over the course of 2 years. And then again in late 2024, that's when she says she was assaulted by Sharpe, both physically and sexually, and raped at least 2 times. Again, no direct comment from Sharpe at this time. He and his attorney, they had previously said that the decision to step away from his role at ESPN in April was one that he made himself. This no longer a decision he has made himself. This is ESPN splitting from Sharpe. He will not be on that show, on that program, on the network moving forward. That being said, he does have an incredibly popular podcast that airs weekly, and as far as we know, that will continue. But Hallie, in terms of his relationship broadcasting with ESPN, that is over.
Shannon Sharpe will be fine. Shannon Sharpe will be fine. Now, I thought that ESPN would actually keep Shannon Sharpe on. And the reason that I thought that ESPN would keep Shannon Sharpe on is because Shannon Sharpe is a generational talent when it comes to creation of content. I think that he's great for networks. He's great with the money. Unfortunately, Shannon Sharpe fell victim to what most of us have a fetish for, and that is what I call boxolitis. Shannon Sharpe fell victim to the box. And so he's seen this. She was a fairy. Yeah, she was a fairy. The very thing that I warned y'all against. Let me sit back in my chair and let me kick it for a second so I can talk my talk. Before we get into Shannon Sharpe's reaction to it, because I'm going to play that next, let me sit back in my chair and let me talk my talk. Because I'm right. I'm right again. Anton, no. We want them younger, we want them whiter, and we want them greener so that we can train them on how it is that they need to be moving around an older man. Older men like younger white women. That's what y'all told me. That is what y'all told me. No cap. You argued with me in the comments. You argued with me on the Millionaire Morning Show. You did live streams. You did reactions videos to me. You talked about it on Monday nights. You talked about it on After Hours. And you argued with me and you said, Cap, Anton, you don't know what it is out here no more, Unc. You've been out the game for a while. And then I tried to tell you, I said, listen, the game is the game. It don't change. The only thing that changes is the players and the technology. The game is the game. And I talked to you and I told you. I said, bro, you're asking for trouble, trouble. And you didn't want to listen. And you said, no, man. And so now you're making more excuses. Oh, Shannon, he just didn't know. He wasn't able to vet him. These girls are smarter than you. I knew chicks in high school that had grown men picking them up, and they was like, "Yeah, I only talk to older men." I knew chicks that was smarter than you. I knew chicks back in college that was talking to a dope boy, and she knew that eventually he was gonna go to jail. She said that she was already putting herself in a position, and some of the things that she was doing was getting her own salon, getting this up. She was taking money that he was giving her, and she was stacking it, living a life and waiting for him to eventually go down, knowing that he was either going to end up dead or in jail, and she just took her chances. That's a fact. They not as green as you think that they are. They not as airheaded as you think that they are. They play airhead. They play oblivious. They play like they don't know what they talking about, but they are very much looking at you as a mark. You thought that the way that Shannon Sharpe, when he went out to go on that liquor tour for Laportier, you thought him getting out there with them bad knees, that he was somehow impressing some young white 20-year-old chick? You think I'm naive? You think we naive? Oh, you a different type of unk, huh? You a different unk. You different. You the one that all of the 21 and 22-year-olds want. You him. You him, huh? She don't want you for your money. She don't want you for your clout. She just like you because y'all are the same mentally. Because y'all can communicate. Because age ain't nothing but a number. You different. You special. You a special unk. Oh, no. You different. You know how to move around the room. You move the room. You got motion. Yeah. The women your age, they just all cantankerous. They don't know no better. You different. You smarter than everybody else. You wiser than the men that came before you. You're not gonna get caught up. I remember when he was going off on Ocho. Ocho. Hey, Ocho. Ocho. Y'all gotta be, y'all can't keep being late. You know, I'm taking this thing. I'm taking this thing to high levels. And with a microphone, man. Why's my nightcap crew can't get yourself together? You know, when I was in the NFL, I told my older brother, I said, I'm gonna start me a podcast. And I need Ocho to get on board. And I need the microphone man. And whoever is in the background, y'all need to get it together. Right after that, scandal. As soon as he starts showing off that watch, boo, because y'all over talk about me. Y'all talk about old Unc over here. Cat Williams bought this watch. Yeah. And make sure you go get some Laportier too. DraftKings, T-Mobile, boost T-Mobile. Skip thought he was gonna keep me down. You can't stop no train. Who's the last person that's trying to get in front of the train? You get ran over. You gonna get ran over. Right after that, all it took was some little pink box and a little bit of head, and you was all in your feelings. All in your feelings, had your face all between her legs. Just gobbling up pink. Just eating the pink. You probably was eating the pink. Come here, Michelle. Yeah, Michelle. God putting your face all in the pink. This ain't about Shannon. This is about you. This is about you. You walking and living and talking and looking at this. You think we talking about Shannon. We're using Shannon as the latest example of a falling soldier, a fallen angel. He went up like, whoop, and they just was like, here, let me take this on. Give me this 25 million. Give me this 30 million. Give me an ESPN contract. Because you think you special. You think you got you. Yeah, you. You think you special. Got you a little white girl. Ain't nothing wrong with the little pink cat. Get you some pink cat. Deal with whatever you want to deal with. But just be realistic about what you facing. Be realistic about what you're facing. Listen, men have to be situationally aware. They have to understand that you are not special. Your circumstance is special. Your money is special. Your emotion is special. The fact that you on top right now makes you special. But you're not as special to other people as you think you are. You're only as special as your ability to be able to provide until you're not special anymore. And so this is what Shannon had to face. Shannon, for some reason, forgot the rules of the game. And let me tell you why. Because football players, some of them get more motion than others, but most of them, they walk around with a helmet on their head. I got any helmets here? I don't think I got no helmets here. Any helmets? I can't think of no helmets. I don't think I got no helmets here. Most football players walk around with a helmet on their head. Let's do a makeshift helmet. Let's see what we got over here. So because they walk around with helmets on their head all day, they may have made the NFL, they may be in the locker room, they may be doing some things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they get the visibility that they want to. And I had a conversation about yesterday. Shannon Sharpe. Okay, so Shannon, football players are used to having helmets on, okay? And so they're not the same as basketball players, all right? Football players are used to going, 1, 2, 3, and so they have a little bit of jealousy within them. And so a lot of times throughout their career, because they have a helmet on, they're not able to be recognized as easily as a basketball player. Basketball players are 9 feet tall. They're able to walk around. They can go into the club. They can market themselves. The women know who they are. So unless you're an Aaron Rodgers or, a Shador Sanders or something like that, you're not going to be able to get as much visibility. So your motion is going to be limited. Unless you're a Deion Sanders historically or something like that, you're not going to be able to do the same things that everybody else do. So Shannon is used to putting on his football helmet, right? Putting on his football helmet, and they get out there, set up, 1, go. They're Neanderthals. They're used to being savages. They're used to always walking around. And so they believe that they deserve the same love as NBA players, but they're not getting the love because when they go out into the streets, a lot of times, unless you start to sell something or you get more visibility, you don't get the same motion as the baseball players. You don't get the same motion as the soccer players. You don't get the same motion as hockey players. You get this type of motion. Nobody knows who you are. Oh, man, that's just a big old football player. Oh, man, he just big. So that's what they're used to. So Shannon got a lot more motion now, right? He got a lot more motion. When Shannon got on Club Shay Shay and Fox Sports, and he was good at his job, the visibility was different than they were used to as football players. The visibility, football players envy other sports because they don't make as much money while they're in the league, but they generate the most revenue as a league. and they don't have the same motion when it comes to being recognizable and visibility, because most people would walk past a football player and not be able to know his name, even in their own city. Like in your own, even if you're not internationally known, like if you're not a big time superstar, then in your own city, you still the man. In your own city, you're still the man. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna be him. But most people on a football roster, unless you're one of the big dogs, right? Unless you was a Megatron or something like that, a Barry Sanders, a generational player, you're not going to get that much motion. But when they start to get more visibility as like being on these shows and starting their own podcasts and stuff, it hit different because now they have the fame that is commensurate with the money, and they probably making more money than they ever made when they was in football themselves. So Shannon, as great as he is, as awesome as he was, he forgot the lessons. He forgot the rules of the game. And the rules of the game are such. Nobody is bigger than the program. Nobody can escape boxolitis. And you have to, under any circumstance, under all circumstances, you have to maintain frame. You never, ever, ever. This is the number one rule of the game. If nobody has ever told you, and I don't care if you're a content creator, I don't care if you're the executive of a startup company that's going to blow up and make a lot of money. I don't care if you're a football player. I don't care if you're a basketball player. I don't care what you are. If nobody ever told you, I am going to tell you right now, this is the rule, the number one rule of the game. The number one rule of the game is that you never, ever, if you just a neighborhood dope boy and you are the man in your city, this is the rules of the game. Never, ever, ever, under any circumstance, place a hoe before your dough. Never, ever let anything come between you and the money. You can go party as long as it don't affect the money. You can go ball as long as it don't affect the money. You can do this, you can do that. But when you mess up the money, you done broke rule number one of the game. Rule number one of the game. Y'all didn't have OGs because y'all grew up in the social media era. So you just took your advice from anybody that you can find it from. You took your advice from anybody that you can find it from. Here's Shannon Sharpe and him addressing specifically him getting let go by ESPN.
Hello, it's your favorite sports thunk here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the fastest growing community on YouTube. Remember, Nightcap doesn't happen without you. So please subscribe or you're going to make Ocho cry. Before we get started, obviously, I'm sure everybody's heard the news by now that I will not be returning to ESPN. I found out this information a little earlier in the week. And really, the only thing that I really ask is like, guys, could we wait until Monday? My brother's going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I really wanted to be about him, and I wanted to be about my family. I know this coming out will overshadow everything that he's worked his entire life for. And unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. And so as I told him, as I profusely apologized to him earlier today, he said, bro, stop apologizing. You don't have to apologize. I'm your big bro. I'm going to love you regardless. We all make mistakes. And he says, bro, I love you. So I'm done with this. You're done with it too. Move on. And I really enjoyed my time at ESPN. It gave me an opportunity to bring my audience that saw me really just grow. They saw me, Lakers in 5, and they saw me say all these analogies that my grandparents gave me, and I was able to bring that to ESPN. So I'm very, very grateful for that. But I just wished, of all things, like I said, hey, they did what they felt they needed to do, and I'm at peace with that. But I just wish, guys, this thing could have waited until Monday, because I hate the fact that I'm overshadowing my brother, the first two brothers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And this is what the headline's going to be for the next couple of days. So, bro, again, I know you told me this, I don't have to apologize, but I'm going to do it fine.
So that's pretty much all Shannon said. He said that he asked him to wait till Monday. Fa Brown says, AD, do you think that ESPN was fouled for not waiting till Monday? No, I don't. You don't get to dictate the rules. You can make a request, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can dictate the rules. Listen, you can control the narrative when you are a winner. That is the only time that you have the power and control. You determine the rules. You determine how the game goes. You can control things. The minute that you mess up the money, the minute that you mess up the reputation, the minute that you mess up the bag, that's when all of the rules go out the window. And he knew the rules of the game, and that's why he's not salty about it. You can make a request, but that don't mean that they got to honor it. They don't have to do nothing. It's 100% business. You was bad for the brand. Now, I personally believe, this is where I was wrong. I personally believed that Shannon would be able to overcome this situation and ultimately still remain on ESPN, because I think it's a bad move on ESPN's part to let Shannon Sharpe go. I believe it is a horrible thing on ESPN's part to let Shannon Sharpe go. I believe that they could have possibly renegotiated the contract, that they could have got him at a lower price. If they were smart, they would have played this completely differently. Because he was still an asset. He was a huge asset, and people would have wanted to tune in to see what he was going to be like, if he was going to be on top of it, if he was going to recover, if he was going to show off. And I'm pretty sure they could have got him for a cheaper price considering everything. This was leverage on ESPN's part. You don't let a person like Shannon Sharpe go because he's too valuable in order to make sure that you can continue to keep up in the ratings to compete. If I was ESPN, I would have kept him. If I was ESPN, I would have kept him. You say ESPN is trying to fix their dying brand. The only way you fix the dying brand is by having exceptional talent, is by doing numbers. The numbers is always going to be king over everything. Ain't no brand perception when you losing in numbers, when you're continuing to be gnawed at by all of these independent things. Now, let me give Shannon Sharpe some credit too. Let me give Shannon Sharpe some credit, because on the flip side, of course, I said that Shannon forgot to plot or whatever, so on and so forth, blah. And I still don't believe that he was guilty. I just think that he didn't understand the rules of the game. For some reason, the Cat Williams interview, the money, the visibility, the brand deals and all of that probably overshadowed a lot, and he thought he was untouchable. You're never untouchable. You got to stay focused, all right? Here's where I think that Shannon Sharpe played it correctly. This is what I think that Shannon Sharpe did well. Shannon Sharpe was smart enough to be able to survive and pivot and continue to keep his own Shay brand, keep his own nightcap, continue to work. And this is another thing. This is a learned lesson, y'all. Look at all of the lessons. Forget the news of what we're talking about in Shannon Sharpe, and let's pay attention to the lessons. What's the lesson here? Is that at the end of the day, Shannon was diversified and what it was that he was putting out, and that he never just said, yep, I got the bag at ESPN. Yep, I got the bag at Fox Sports. Yep, I ran it up over here. Yep, I did this. He continued to grind. He continued to expand his reach, his tentacles, and build his individual brand to where he was not interdependent on another company in order for him to survive. That was the thing that he did, which was exceptional. You have to diversify. And this is applicable across the board. Don't put yourself in a position to get laid off or let go and you was a one-trick pony. Don't put yourself in a position where you interdependent on a company in order for you to survive. Don't put yourself in a position where you got to go and try to hurry up and land another job in order for you to be okay. You're going to have to make sure that you diversify. I think that Stephen A. did a phenomenal job at it. Don Lemon did a phenomenal job at it. Gilbert Arenas, we're going to get into him in a minute. I think he's did a phenomenal job at it. Shannon Sharpe has done a phenomenal job at it. Ocho Cinco has done a phenomenal job at it. And that no matter what, even if this is kind of messed up, Shannon is still a millionaire at the end of the day. And that's why we can joke on him. We can talk about him. We can say, hey, this is a learned lesson. He forgot the plot, so on and so forth. You know why? Because Shannon is still a millionaire and Shannon is still going to get to the bag. 2 years from now, Shannon is going to be doing just fine. He's going to be just fine. And instead of him just sitting on his laurels and saying, yeah, I'm the man at Fox, I'm the man at ESPN, yep, I got the bag and all of this other stuff, he said, all right, I'm going to take this visibility, I'm going to take what it is that I've been able to build, and I'm going to build something in addition to that, and this is going to be the primary, and everything else is going to be secondary. but I'm going to put all of my energy, nightcap, on it every night. ESPN, he was kind of part-time. Nightcap, I'm on it every night. The Shay Club, Shay, we're going to run that every single week. He never rested. And that is that's the most important lesson in this thing, is that you have to have your own things going on separate from whatever it is that you do for a living, so that you are not out on your butt waiting for anybody. My unemployment is me. My insurance is me. Because nobody is going to look out for Anton the way that Anton look out for Anton. And so when I seen my former manager the other day, he been having to pivot. He had to take a position. He did some consulting. He wound up, and now, and of course, men, they grind, they hustle, and they going to land on their feet. But the main thing got to be the main thing. You work on the thing part-time till it becomes the main thing, and then you let everything else be extra on top of that. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's get to it. Yeah, we got to get into Gilbert Arenas shortly. But Shannon, that was a huge lesson for us. And again, I don't believe that Shannon Sharpe even a little bit. I don't even think a little bit that he was a part of doing the thing that she accused him of doing. But when you're a public figure, you got greater expectations.